So hello and welcome back. You've probably had quite a bit of practice now if you've been practicing over the last couple weeks, the two mindfulnesses that I had taught to you previously. So today we're just going to again just jump right in. And the theme for today is to be right where you are in this moment. So it can be helpful to remember this practice as be right where you are. It can be sort of an anchor in terms of a thought, in place of maybe your breath. But one of the practices that we are going to do today is focused on your breath. So a little bit first on this lesson of being right where you are. There's many benefits to it. So one of the things when we first begin to observe our mind is that we start to notice that there are patterns that our mind has. It could be patterns in terms of, we're always rehearsing something, or we might always be ruminating about something. We might be playing a conversation over and over and over in our mind, or we might be thinking about the future and thinking about planning, thinking about how things might turn out. And when we start observing again, we start to notice that our mind has these kind of habits, these kind of things that our mind just sort of does in its off time when we're not really concentrating our attention onto one thing in particular. Another thing about mindfulness is that through mindfulness or mindlessness, when your mind is sort of bouncing around everywhere and there's no real sticking point, we found that a wandering mind can actually be a very unhappy mind. So some people might ask, what's the big deal about my mind wandering? So what? But there has been research out there that a wandering mind may not necessarily be a restful mind. It can be a restless mind. And it often can be a sign that perhaps you are thinking more in the future or more in the past. So to connect that idea, when thinking about depression or anxiety, certain habits, certain patterns of the mind can really be maybe related to certain mood symptoms. So when we're in rehearsing mind, we might be more anxious. And when we're in rehashing mind, when we're again playing that conversation over and over and over again in our mind, we might be in this place of depression or sadness. And so you can sort of see that when we're either in the past or the present, we might not be mindful of what's going on right now when we're really alive in this moment. And all of these habits that our mind has, this planning, this worrying, maybe this fantasizing, this rehashing, so on and so forth, it can be really seductive. You might notice that you can sort of get sucked in to maybe thinking about the future or sucked into a previous encounter that you might have had. And it's really easy to fall into this trap and to sometimes over-identify with our thoughts. And so to think maybe if there is some kind of depressive thought like I am worthless, someone might continue to fuse with that. And so what mindfulness does is it says, let's bring ourselves back to now. That thought, that's a passing thought. That's something that our mind does. It's a habit of our mind to create that thought. But that's not what's happening right now. That's not me in this present moment right now. So being in this moment, what we found is when we simply, be in this moment and attach less to these automatic thoughts that we have, these rehashing thoughts or these ruminative thoughts or these rehearsing thoughts, we can actually begin to calm down our mind, calm down our body, and actually heal. And it's interesting because when we are in the present moment, there's actually some, like I said before, some healthful benefits to our physical state of being. In that moment, we can allow our blood pressure to lower, or we can, as a result, improve our immune system. And sometimes we tend to look at this as like a way for our body to digest and rest, if you will, for our body just to be and to let it do its own thing. So with that brief introduction, again into mindfulness, we are going to focus on mindfulness of breathing today. So let's just start out with our posture. So again, with our posture, you'll want to have your feet both on the floor, hands at a comfortable position, perhaps in your lap, next to your thighs on the chair, clasped in front of you, somewhere where they just feel relaxed and normal. And you'll want to have your back against the chair in a comfortable way, and your posture will be upright, not so upright that you're stiff and that maybe uncomfortable, but not so relaxed that you might fall asleep, right? The purpose of this is to help us attend to our breath and, not fall asleep, although sometimes that can be a byproduct of these mindfulness practices. Another part of this I want to remind you of is to not manipulate your breath. So mindfulness of breathing is simply attending to our breath with this attention to how it is in the moment. We're not trying to change it. We're not trying to make it deeper or make it slower or make it shallower or anything like that. We're just letting our breath breathe itself. Again, just letting your body do its thing. Another part of this is thinking is not sensing. So at some points along the way, I will, be prompting you to sense your breath, sense what parts of your body feel the breath. And if you're thinking about the breath, such as you're thinking about the air coming in and the air coming out, and thinking about the process of breathing, that's not actually mindfulness. So what I want you to do and what I encourage you to do is really feel the breath. Feel the breath as it comes out of your nostrils, or feel the breath as it passes your lips, or feel the breath as your tummy or your chest extends as you breathe in, and how it collapses when you breathe out. Because that's what mindfulness is. It's sensing, it's not thinking. And two more points that I want you to remember is that in this breath exercise, your breath will be your anchor. So anytime that you notice that your mind isn't, paying attention to your breath, that is a moment of mindfulness. That's a moment where you are very much aware that your mind has gone to rehearse or it's gone to rehash. And just with as much kindness as you can, as non-judgmentally as you can, just bring your attention back to your breath. Because that in itself, that is the practice of mindfulness. And I guess that actually covers my last point about the wandering mind. So I encourage you to be persistent, to be patient with this practice, to provide yourself with as much kindness as you feel you're willing to do, knowing that your mind will wander. It's just like that very happy puppy or endearing toddler that might be in your life where, you have to bring back to the moment, or you have to call that puppy back to you as you're trying to train it. Just like your mind, you're trying to train your mind to bring it back to where you want it to be, and that's in the present moment. So let's go ahead and get started. So I'd like you to, I'd invite you to close your eyes, or you may take a softened gaze down at the floor, at the table. And just check in for a moment with the sensation of the body and what emotions may be present right now, or what sensations you might be experiencing right now. And just notice as best you can what your mind is doing right now, in this moment. Not trying to change anything. And just letting it be as it is. Just let yourself be as you are. And as best as you can, taking your awareness into your body. Noticing the sensations of the breath. And if it's helpful, take 2 or 3 breaths here, maybe just a bit deeper than what you've been doing previously. And this might help you to get a sense of where in your body you feel your breath. Or maybe that place you feel the breath is most pleasant. Might notice that it's most pleasant in the chest or the belly. And just let go of any control that you might be having over your breath. Not manipulating your breath in any way, just letting it be. And I invite you to trust the abundant wisdom of your body. Your body knows how to breathe without you telling it to. And just let it do its thing, rather than being in control of your breath. And perhaps you may notice that the breath expands the chest on the inhale and it might fall away on the exhale. And just sense here how the chest lifts and falls away with each breath. And here, tracking as best as you can the entire cycle of your breath as it comes in and out of your body. Tracking the sensations of each inhale and each exhale, and allowing yourself to get as close as you can to the sensation of your breath, wherever you feel it. Using the awareness of the breath as your anchor. Anchor to this present moment. Notice your breath here and now. Noticing each breath as it develops. Allowing any tension in the body that isn't needed, that you notice, to be released with each exhale. And allowing any tension that remains to be just as it is. Exhaling tension and allowing yourself to be. Ask yourself, where is my attention now? Where does it go during the quiet moments? And each time you notice that your mind has wandered, you're doing the practice exactly as it needs to be practiced. That this is a moment of mindfulness. Gently bringing your awareness back to your breath. Sensing how the chest lifts and expands. Now it falls away. It lifts with each inhale falls with each exhale. This lifting and this falling away of the breath is completely familiar to you. A reliable anchor to the present moment. Right here, right now, this breath. Allowing yourself the space to be just you, as you are in this moment. Breathing in, breathing out, right here, in this moment. Welcome back. So as we've done in the past, I invite you to integrate this into your practice. Perhaps taking 10 or 15 minutes out of your day on a regular basis to integrate this mindfulness of breathing as well as the other mindfulnesses that you have practiced so far with me. So thank you for being here today, and I look forward to seeing you again.